Rain fell in thin silver lines over the city that night, washing neon lights into trembling reflections on cracked sidewalks. Inside the Grand Meridian Hotel, one of the oldest but still most respected hotels in the district, the air smelled of roasted garlic, polished wood, and quiet exhaustion. Marcus Hale stood near the service entrance in his neatly pressed black waiter's uniform, adjusting his tie with fingers roughened by years of work. At 40 years old, Marcus had learned how to disappear in plain sight. Guests rarely remembered his face, only the way their plates arrived warm and their glasses never emptied. He had worked at the Grand Meridian for 17 years, long enough to see generations of rich guests grow older, colder, or crueler, long enough to know that kindness, like money, was unevenly distributed in the world. Marcus's shift had officially ended an hour ago, but he stayed back as he often did, wiping down tables, stacking chairs, helping the younger staff who rushed home to families waiting with dinner. Marcus had no one waiting. His small apartment held only silence, an old radio, and framed photographs of parents who had passed too soon. Hunger didn't scare him. He had known it as a child. What scared him was forgetting what hunger felt like, because that was how people stopped caring. As he stepped out the back door to throw away leftover bread rolls, he noticed movement near the alley beside the hotel. Two small figures huddled near a broken crate, their clothes soaked, their bodies thin as shadows. A boy and a girl no older than 10 or 11. Their eyes followed Marcus with the sharp alertness of children who had learned not to trust adults. The boy pulled the girl slightly behind him, as if his skinny arms could shield her from the world. Marcus froze. The city had taught him a hard lesson: look away or get involved and pay a price. But another lesson, older, deeper, rose in his chest. He remembered being 8 years old, standing outside a diner with his stomach screaming, watching people laugh over plates he would never taste. He remembered a waitress once slipping him a sandwich without a word. That memory had fed him for years. "You hungry?" Marcus asked gently. The children didn't answer. Hunger had made them cautious. The girl's lips trembled, but she stayed silent. The boy finally nodded, once barely. Marcus glanced behind him. The hotel manager hated problems near the property. Guests hated reminders of poverty. Rules said leftovers went to the trash. Rules were written by people who never went to bed hungry. "Wait here," Marcus said softly. He returned inside, heart pounding harder than it ever did during a rush-hour dinner service. In the kitchen, the chefs were cleaning up. Without drawing attention, Marcus packed 2 plates, real plates, not scraps. Warm chicken, rice, bread, and fruit. He added 2 glasses of milk and wrapped everything carefully in a clean cloth. His hands shook, not from fear of being caught, but from the weight of what this moment might mean. When he returned, the children stared at the food as if it might vanish. Marcus set the plates down slowly, kneeling so he wasn't towering over them. "You can eat." "It's yours," he said. The girl broke first. Tears streamed down her face as she picked up the bread, biting into it with a desperation that hurt to watch. The boy followed, eating fast, guarding his sister with glances toward the street. Marcus sat on the crate nearby, saying nothing. He knew better than to rush gratitude. Hunger didn't allow for speeches. Between bites, the boy finally spoke. "My name's Daniel. This is my sister Lila, our parents." His voice cracked, then stopped. He didn't finish. Marcus didn't ask questions. Some stories were too heavy for children to tell and too painful for adults to hear. "I'm Marcus," he said. "You're safe here for now." They ate every bite. When they finished, Lila looked up at Marcus with eyes far older than her years. "Why are you helping us?" she asked. Marcus smiled sadly. "Because someone once helped me." That night, Marcus found them dry blankets from the hotel's laundry room and let them sleep near the warm air vent by the alley. He knew he couldn't bring them inside. Security. Cameras watched everything, but he checked on them before leaving. And again before dawn. For 3 nights he brought food. On the 4th, the children were gone. Marcus stood in the alley longer than necessary, staring at the empty crate. He felt foolish for hoping they'd stay, foolish for worrying where they went. The city swallowed children like them every day. Still, before his shift began, Marcus tucked a small note under the crate. "If you ever come back, ask for Marcus." Life moved on the way it always did, without apology. Years passed. Marcus kept working, kept serving, kept smiling politely at people who discussed stock prices louder than they spoke to him. Sometimes guests were kind. Sometimes they were cruel. Most were indifferent. Marcus learned that indifference hurt the most. He never married, never left the hotel, but he never stopped being kind. He fed stray cats behind the building. He helped new waiters who struggled. Once, when a dishwasher lost his home, Marcus let him sleep on his couch for months. He never talked about it. Kindness didn't need witnesses. Yet on quiet nights, Marcus wondered about the children. Daniel and Lila, were they alive? Were they safe? Had they escaped the streets? He hoped, but hope was a dangerous habit. 22 years slipped by like pages turning too fast. On an ordinary evening, one so unremarkable it felt invisible, Marcus finished another long shift. His knees ached. His reflection in the service mirror showed gray creeping into his beard. He untied his apron, thinking only of sleep. Then he heard it. A low, smooth purr, deep and powerful, unlike any engine that ever pulled up to the Grand Meridian. Staff gathered near the entrance, murmuring. Marcus stepped closer, wiping his hands on his uniform. Parked directly in front of the hotel, gleaming under the lights like a piece of liquid night, stood a Rolls-Royce. And from that moment on, Marcus Hale's quiet life built on unseen kindness was about to change forever. If this story touched your heart even a little, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that small acts of kindness can echo across decades. And by subscribing, you help keep these powerful stories alive.